Hi everyone, this is how we are going to use this software, this online data visualization software called Tuva, to upload and visualize our class data set for the Cortisol Recovery Lab. So once you've created your Tuva account, you can go to upload my data sets, or just add a new data set, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to click it here, new data set, and so this window should pop up, and I'm going to select load from Google Drive. You could, if you had an Excel, you could just drag and drop it into this area, or you could open up a window here to upload the file. But since we're using Google Drive, we're just going to do it all based off the web. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to ask me to sign in. I'm going to sign in with my Google account for Colby. It's going to take a bit to scan my Google Drive, and it has this file right here that I've been using. It comes up right away. So BI147 lab data sheet. So I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to ask me about which of the sheets, which of the tabs in this data sheet I want to upload. I'm just going to upload the one that we're interested in. We're going to import it. It's loading the data set. Here it is. Here is our data set. So now on the left, you can see this whole list of different attributes from our Google spreadsheet. And here, to remind you, this is what the Google spreadsheet looks like. It just read this and interpreted this spreadsheet. You see over here, here's a student. This is a categorical attribute. A cortisol test is a categorical attribute. Subjective stress level, 1 to 5, that's a numeric, and so on and so forth across all of this. There's no values in here because this was just for the one student that was going to be sending in the lab-based samples, and we don't actually have that data yet, so there's nothing. So let's go back to the data set. And here it is. So say we want to look at the cortisol test type. I'm going to just drag that down to this axis, and it's going to separate them. So post-meditation, post-stress, pre-meditation, and pre-stress baseline. And then I want to separate those by the actual values. So this was the one here, the cortisol value with the smartphone bioassay. So we put that up there, and it's going to put that axis on the Y, and this one on the X is going to separate across the 3 categories. So this dot plot is fine, but it's not really going to be super useful to us. So let's put in a bar chart. Let's just, it's at dot, but let's go to bar, and we're going to go on to standard simple bar chart. So it separates it all into bar chart, and each of these bars is a different student. So now if I want to look at distinguishing between different students, I can just click on this and on student over here along the attribute list, and it will color code by student across this. So say I want to, so this would be the whole class, and I could see, for example, that this data here, the first one, is for Leah, and I can just hover over that bar, and I can see those values. Okay. So now I want to add a little bit of stats to this. So what about the mean? I can click on mean, and it'll show me what the mean value is for the class. And then if I want to add standard deviation to the class values, I can do that, and it'll show me the standard deviation, plus or minus 0.5. If I hover over it, that's the number, but it shows me that. Okay, so that's a pretty good chart. This is like the total data set. If I want to save a picture of the plot, I can just go down here to this little camera, and I can save it as a PNG file. But before I do that, I want to get the titles that are appropriate. So I can click in here and just directly edit this. So what are we going to call this? We're going to call this Cortisol Recovery Full Class Data. Turn, there it is. And if I want to change the axes, where the axes are, I can just grab this arrow and move it. No problem. If I want to change the axis minimum, I can just move this around, save a PNG file. Okay, so there, it's going to save that, and I'll open it, preview, whatever. I'll just get a peek at it. So there is the file that you can insert. Let's get some other, a different view. So say we want to just look at our data for, say, I just want to look at, I'm Aaliyah, and I only want to look at her data. I would go into student, click student, and I can clear all of them and just click on the one that I want. So here is the data for a single student. And let's turn the mean and standard deviation off. And then once again, if I want to save this as a file, I can go down here and save it as a PNG file. So this is just a single student's values. If at any time you get yourself lost somehow, say you like, what am I doing? You can just hit reset and it'll bring everything back to the beginning. And you can start over again. Also, if at any point you go back into the data set and you change some stuff around in here, maybe we're missing a value here, we're missing a value here. Say these people, there's one missing here. Say these people finally add their data to those data points to the data set, and you want to update the data set, you can just hit this refresh button and it'll do that. And it's going to ask me where I want to go. It's going to refresh and it's going to load the update.